Imagine Toyota building a 650 PS Plus, twin-turbo V8 supercar with rear-wheel drive, a hybrid system, carbon ceramic brakes, and a top speed of more than 320 km per hour. Now imagine that this isn't a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Aston Martin. It's a Toyota. This is the upcoming 2027 Toyota GR-GT. 2. Introduction. For decades, Toyota has been known for reliability, efficiency, and cars that ordinary people can live with every day. But Toyota also has another side. The side responsible for the legendary 2000 GT, the Supra, the Lexus LFA, and some of the world's most successful racing machines. And now Toyota Gazoo Racing, or TGR, is taking that performance philosophy to an entirely new level. The GR-GT is being developed as a new flagship for the GR brand, with Toyota positioning it as a motorsport-bred road car. And there is an important detail here. The car you are looking at is still a development model. Toyota says the GR-GT and its racing counterpart, the GR-GT3, are being developed toward launches around 2027, and specifications can still change. So today, we're going to separate what Toyota has actually confirmed from what remains unknown. 3. Exterior design. The first thing that stands out about the GR-GT is its proportions. This is not a small sports coupe. Toyota's current development targets give the GR-GT a length of approximately 4,820 mm, a width of 2,000 mm, and a very low height of just 1,195 mm. The wheelbase is 2,725 mm. In other words, this car is long, extremely wide, and incredibly low. And those proportions aren't just about looking dramatic. Toyota says aerodynamic performance was given major priority during development. The body has been shaped around airflow, stability, and high-speed performance rather than simply adding aggressive styling for attention. The front end is low and wide, with slim lighting elements and large aerodynamic openings. The hood stretches forward over the V8, while the cabin sits toward the rear, creating the classic proportions you expect from a serious front-engine Grand Tourer. But underneath that bodywork is something even more interesting. Toyota is using its first all-aluminum body frame for the GR-GT. The goal is high rigidity without allowing the structure to become unnecessarily heavy. Toyota's current target is a vehicle weight of 1,750 kilograms or less, with a 45% front and 55% rear weight distribution. And then there are the wheels and tires. The current development specification calls for 20-inch wheels with extremely wide performance tires. Up front, the target is 265 35 ZR20. At the rear, an enormous 325 30 ZR20. That rear tire tells you a lot about what Toyota expects this car to do. As for exterior colors, final production paint choices have not yet been officially announced, so this is one area where we should not pretend to know the answer. 4. Interior. Step inside, and the GR-GT takes a very different approach from a typical Toyota. This is a two-seat sports car. There is no rear bench designed for children. No attempt to turn it into a family vehicle. The GR-GT is focused on the driver and one passenger. Toyota says the development philosophy is heavily driver-focused, with professional drivers, engineers, and evaluation drivers involved in repeatedly testing and refining the car. That philosophy is important because the GR-GT isn't being developed simply to produce a big horsepower number. The entire vehicle is being engineered around the person behind the steering wheel. The driving position is low, surrounded by the mechanical hardware and controls you'd expect from a flagship performance machine. But there is an important limitation when discussing the interior today. Toyota has not yet published a complete production specification covering every material, seat option, storage capacity, passenger volume, or final cabin technology. So we can discuss the confirmed two-seat layout and driver-focused philosophy, but exact production details should wait for the final car. And honestly, that's probably appropriate. The GR-GT is clearly designed to make the driving experience the main event. 5. Technology. Technology is one of the areas where we need to be particularly careful. Toyota has revealed the GR-GT's mechanical technology in considerable detail. But it has not yet released a complete production specification for the infotainment system, final digital instrument display, smartphone integration, navigation system, audio options, charging ports, or connected services. So we won't invent those details. What we do know is that the GR-GT itself is a technological showcase for Toyota Gazoo Racing. The car combines an all-aluminum body structure with a twin-turbo V8, a hybrid system, an 8-speed automatic transmission, a rear transaxle, and a mechanical limited-slip differential. That rear transaxle arrangement is especially significant. Instead of putting the entire transmission directly behind the engine, Toyota has moved the transmission assembly toward the rear. This helps contribute to the car's 45/55 front-to-rear weight distribution. In simple terms, Toyota is using technology not just to make the car faster, but to make its weight distribution more favorable for handling. 6. Engine and performance. And now we reach the part that makes the GR-GT truly special. Under the hood is a newly developed 4.0-liter V8. Not a V6. Not a 4-cylinder. A twin-turbocharged V8. Toyota's official development target specifies 3,998 cc, with an 87.5 by 83.1 mm bore and stroke. The engine also uses dry sump lubrication. A dry sump system is designed to keep the engine properly lubricated during extreme cornering and high-G driving, when conventional oil systems can struggle with oil movement inside the engine. But the V8 isn't working alone. The GR-GT uses a single electric motor integrated into the transaxle. So this is a hybrid, but very different from the kind of hybrid most people associate with Toyota. Here, electrification is being used as part of a high-performance powertrain. Toyota's current target is at least 650 PS of system output and at least 850 Nm of system torque. That's roughly 641 horsepower in DIN horsepower terms. Power goes through a newly developed 8-speed automatic transmission. And unlike many modern supercars, the GR-GT sends its power to the rear wheels. Yes, front engine, rear-wheel drive. Toyota's current development target also calls for a top speed of at least 320 km per hour, or roughly 199 miles per hour. However, Toyota has not officially published a final 0 to 100 km per hour acceleration time or production fuel economy figure. So if you see exact acceleration or MPG numbers presented as confirmed specifications right now, treat them carefully. The same applies to final pricing. Toyota has not officially announced the production price. 7. Driving experience. This is where the GR-GT could become one of the most interesting Toyotas ever built. The suspension uses double wishbones at both the front and rear. That gives engineers a high degree of control over wheel movement and geometry. The braking system is equally serious. Toyota's current development specification calls for carbon ceramic disc brakes at both ends. Carbon ceramic brakes are lighter than conventional steel performance brakes and are designed to withstand repeated high-temperature braking. Then there are those massive tires. 265 section rubber at the front. 325 at the rear. Combined with rear-wheel drive and a mechanical limited-slip differential, the GR-GT has the hardware for serious cornering performance. And the weight distribution is 45% front and 55% rear. That rearward bias should help the car feel more balanced when accelerating out of corners. On a highway, the GR-GT should theoretically have the stability and power expected from a Grand Tourer. In the city, however, a car this wide, this low, and this powerful will inevitably demand more attention. And because the final production setup hasn't been fully released, we shouldn't claim specific ride quality characteristics that haven't yet been independently tested. That is another reason to think of today's GR-GT as a highly developed preview rather than a completed road test. 8. Safety. A 320 km/h plus performance car needs more than horsepower. It needs control. Toyota has not yet released a complete production safety specification for the GR-GT. That means final airbag counts, exact ADAS features, crash test ratings, and the complete driver assistance package remain unconfirmed. However, the underlying engineering is clearly focused on high-performance control. The GR-GT uses a rigid aluminum structure, sophisticated double wishbone suspension, carbon ceramic brakes, rear-wheel drive, and a mechanical limited-slip differential. But until Toyota publishes the final safety equipment and the car undergoes the relevant regulatory testing, we should not assign it a crash rating or claim specific driver assistance functions. 9. Reliability and ownership. This is where the Toyota badge creates an interesting question. Toyota has an enormous reputation for reliability. But the GR-GT is not a Corolla. This is a highly complex, low-volume performance machine combining a twin-turbo V8, hybrid technology, an 8-speed rear transaxle, carbon ceramic brakes, specialized tires, and an all-aluminum structure. That means ownership costs are likely to be very different from those of an ordinary Toyota. And we need to emphasize the word, likely. Toyota has not yet released final maintenance schedules, warranty details, production pricing, replacement part costs, or official ownership cost estimates for the GR-GT. So those numbers should not be invented. The same applies to resale value. A flagship Toyota with limited production and a unique V8 hybrid powertrain could potentially become highly desirable among collectors. But until production volumes and market pricing are known, any claim about future resale value is speculation. 10. Competitor comparison. So who is the GR-GT actually fighting? This is not really a Toyota Supra competitor. The GR-GT sits much higher. Its closest competition will come from high-performance Grand Tours and supercars from companies such as Porsche, Mercedes-AMG, Aston Martin, Ferrari, and others. A Porsche 911 turbo-type car brings enormous performance with a long-established sports car formula. An Aston Martin Vantage emphasizes front-engine performance and luxury. Mercedes-AMG offers powerful GT models combining long-distance comfort with serious performance. And Ferrari occupies an even more exotic space in terms of brand prestige and performance. The GR-GT's advantage is that Toyota is bringing a completely different history to the segment. This is a car developed under the GR Motorsport philosophy, with a V8, hybrid assistance, rear-wheel drive, and a strong connection to Toyota's racing ambitions. But there are also potential disadvantages. Toyota does not have the same modern supercar dealership network or luxury brand image as Ferrari, Aston Martin, or Porsche. And because the final price, production volume, and equipment are not yet confirmed, we cannot make a definitive value comparison. 11. Pros and cons. Let's make this simple. Pros. First, the engine. A 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 in a new Toyota flagship is already something special. Second, the hybrid system. The electric motor isn't replacing the performance philosophy, it's being integrated into it. Third, rear-wheel drive. For enthusiasts, that's a major attraction. Fourth, the aluminum body frame and 45/55 weight distribution show that Toyota is thinking beyond straight-line acceleration. Fifth, the carbon ceramic brakes and massive 20-inch performance tires suggest serious track capability. And finally, the GR-GT has something that specifications cannot easily create. Identity. Cons. The biggest disadvantage right now is uncertainty. It isn't in final production specification yet. Pricing is unknown. Final fuel economy is unknown. Final infotainment and cabin equipment are unknown. Warranty and maintenance details are unknown. Acceleration figures have not been officially confirmed. And with a 1,750 kilogram target, this won't be an ultralight sports car. It's a sophisticated, powerful Grand Tourer. 12. Buying advice. So who should buy the GR-GT? If you want a normal daily Toyota, this obviously isn't the car. If you want maximum practicality, there are countless better choices. But if you're a serious enthusiast looking for something rare and fundamentally different, the GR-GT becomes extremely interesting. This is for the buyer who wants the sound and character of a V8, the instant assistance of hybrid power, the purity of rear-wheel drive, and technology developed with motorsport in mind. It could also appeal to collectors who want a future Toyota that may represent an important moment in the company's performance history. But if you want a proven supercar platform with decades of customer history, you may prefer an established Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin, or Mercedes-AMG alternative. And if you are considering buying one, the smartest move is to wait for Toyota's final production specification. That's when we will know the real price, equipment, warranty, performance figures, fuel economy, and market availability. 13. Final verdict. The 2027 Toyota GR-GT is important for one simple reason. Toyota didn't need to build a car like this. It could have stayed with practical hybrids, SUVs, and mainstream performance cars. Instead, Toyota Gazoo Racing decided to create a new flagship. A 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8. A hybrid system. Rear-wheel drive. A rear-mounted 8-speed transaxle. An aluminum body frame. Carbon ceramic brakes. A 45/55 weight distribution. And a target top speed of more than 320 km per hour. Those are not the ingredients of an ordinary Toyota. They are the ingredients of a statement. And perhaps that's the most interesting thing about the GR-GT. It isn't trying to prove that Toyota can build a fast car. Toyota has already done that many times. It's trying to prove that Toyota can build a flagship performance machine that carries the GR name into an entirely different league. The final production car may still change before it reaches customers around 2027. But if Toyota delivers what these development targets promise, the GR-GT could become one of the most fascinating Japanese performance cars of this generation. This isn't just another new sports car. It's Toyota reminding the world that when it really wants to build something special, it knows exactly how to make people pay attention. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2027 Toyota GR-GT, make sure to subscribe, because the moment Toyota reveals the final production specifications, we'll be taking another look at this incredible machine. And until then, one question remains. Would you take the Toyota GR-GT over a Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin, or Mercedes-AMG?